Hey guys, what's up? This is Ashish from reallibrary.in and welcome to your another Power BI tutorial. And in this tutorial, we'll learn transformation. Okay, for now I've just selected historical data of US population. It is from the year 1790 to 1860. I did it the same way. You go to Power Query and online sources, you get it from Wikipedia. I think so. So yeah, once your sources are ready, I think you can get started. Yeah, it is from Wikipedia. Okay, so as you can see, I have my data. So I'll click anywhere in the spreadsheet. I'll get this option query, and I'll just click on that. Okay, so when I click on that, you'll see I have the option of edit query. Okay, and remember I told you in the previous tutorial that any changes I make in the spreadsheet won't reflect it. Okay, because that's not the query. Okay, so now let's go to edit query. A new window opens up, and it's opening. Yeah, it opened. Okay, so there you go. And firstly, what I want is I want my key to be at the first place. Okay, first comes the key and then every other thing. Okay, so as you can see, I have all my data. So suppose okay, so this is we have the total. Okay, the n total of all, so total United States and all the different states, they have been summed up over here. Okay, for all the years. So suppose I don't want to see the sum, so what I can do is I can just filter this out. I can just click on this arrow. Okay, it'll say load. I'll say I don't want blanks to be displayed, so it would go off. So we won't have United States, we just have 50 rows now. Okay, so these blanks indicate that these states weren't made when during this year. Okay, and now suppose I didn't want to show the states, like for example Alaska. I think it didn't existed by this time, so there was no population captured for that state. Okay, so if I didn't want this to be displayed, what I can do is I can click on this filter and I can say don't show me all those which have blanks. Okay, so by that we can still 1860, which all states were there, we can find out their population. So it has filtered out by that as well. You can see over here I just reordered the column first by moving the key. Then what I did was I just filtered out the rows. Okay, so as you can see over here, whenever I click on this data sheet, which is from 1790 to 1860, you notice over here that this is being shown as text. Okay, so I don't want these to be text, so let me select from here till here. I have just selected all the columns by holding shift, and from the drop down list I'll select number, so I'll select a whole number, and as you can see it has changed. So all those which weren't present have become null. Okay, so now suppose I want to remove the nulls, so that's an easiest way to do it. You can see it has replace value, so I say for now I want to replace all my nulls with 0. Okay, so you can hit OK. You can do it anyway, you can put whatever thing you like. So okay, my bad, I didn't select all the columns. Okay, so I've selected all the columns and I say replace null with 0. Okay, so what this will do is this will remove all the nulls and place 0 instead of those nulls. Okay, and I assume that you know the difference between null and 0. Okay, null is when the state was there but they have not considered, they didn't get any data about that state, and 0 is the count will be 0, that there was nobody in that state in the year 1790 or so. Okay, so moving on, let me show you another thing. Let me show you transformations. Now there's one thing with Power BI I want to tell you before we move. Maybe with different version of Power BI you will have different options over here. Like in the previous version we had a transform over here. and this one. So from the drop down you could use either number, text, or anything. But in this case you have transform over here, and they've tagged it to the ribbon, and it does almost the same thing but few additional features. Like for example, if I select the name over here, and if I say length, so when I selected the column name, and when I say length, what this will do is this will just give me the length of all these. This will just give me the length of all these. Okay, so I don't want to show it now, so I'll just remove it. I'll just cancel that. And yeah, suppose you want to count how many rows you have, which I think you can see it at the bottom of the screen. I think it shows 11 columns and 42 rows. So as I said, if you want to explicitly count the number of rows, then you can just click on count rows, so it would give you the same number, 42. I don't want it right now, so I'll just remove it. Okay, so that was one form of transformation. Now when you want to see the rows in the reverse order, so suppose, what was the last thing, I guess it was 50 something. Yeah, when you want to see the 50 first, you can press reverse row. It would reverse all the rows, and again if you want to reverse it, it'll come back to the same page. So I have so many reversed rows, so I can just remove it. Okay, now suppose you want to transpose it. Transpose is nothing but it'll treat your rows as columns, columns as rows. So when I transpose it, you'll see all my rows have become columns and columns have become rows. Okay, so I don't want transpose now for just data. You might need it for depending on your need. Okay, so okay, when I select this data, and if I want to change its data type to say date, so it would become like this. And this one, if I want to change to something, you have all these options over here. You have sum, minimum, maximum, average, count the values, add, multiply, or scientific. There are a lot of options which you can choose based on your requirement. I leave that to you because it's self-explanatory. And transformation for text can be done by selecting the respective column, and you can say format, you want it lowercase, uppercase, or any such thing. Okay, so let's see a very important thing called pivot. And before that, you have this option as well, replace errors. If there are any errors and you want to replace it with something, you can do it by clicking on this. And yes, now let's go to pivot. So what unpivot does is, suppose I want to see all my data in terms of rows itself. So what I can do is I can select all of these and I'll say unpivot columns. Okay, so now what you can notice is all these are unchanged. Okay, Alabama you have, the date you have. Okay, I'll just keep it as year. I think it was this one. I'll remove it. So there are things, yeah, this is one thing I want to tell. A few of the changes are, dependent on each other. Okay, they might have cross functionality, so be careful when you do that. And yeah, it worked for me now. Okay, so these are the years. I'll just rename it. I'll just rename to years. Years. Okay, so I've just renamed it to years. For that particular year, I have the row, and these are unchanged. Okay, now suppose I want my data the same way it used to be. So what I can do is I can go to pivot column, and it would ask me pivot usernames in the column here. So it was okay, I want values so that we can choose the way it was. Okay, I could have done it by removing this part, but still there's I just wanted to show you pivot. Okay, so there are advanced options. You can choose some aggregate count. For now I think you can figure it out. Okay, so when I click OK, I'll get it in the same form as it was. Okay, guys, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial, and if you have any doubts, please leave a comment below on YouTube. And please don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next tutorial. Bye.